In the US, Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated from September 15th through October 15th. In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, I wanted to highlight some of my favorite Hispanic and Latine creators who are financial planners, financial educators, and financial content creators to help amplify their voices. And yes, I know there's a difference between Hispanic and Latine, Latinx, Latino. If you want to stick around for why I decided to combine Hispanic and Latine Heritage Month into one video, wait till the end and I'll give you the behind the scenes and why I decided to do it that way. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay. I'm a certified financial therapist, and I help people understand the intersection of money and mental health through my work at Mind Money Balance. Let's get into highlighting some amazing folks in the Hispanic and Latine communities who are out here doing work around financial literacy, financial education, financial normalization, with a specific acknowledgement of how their cultural and their heritage impacts why they do what they do with their money and how they help their clients with it. Perez has the platform Bravely Go, which is an award-winning international financial education company. After she graduated from college, she had about $25,000 in debt. And like many people who graduated kind of right into the Great Recession, she found herself working as a server. During that time, working and trying to deal with this debt, she tried to figure out, how can I get out of this debt even though I'm in a lower earning job? And to help kind of normalize what she was going through, she started a blog and basically just chronicled everything that she was going through. How she was working on saving, what she was learning, how she was implementing all of those things. As she worked on paying off her debt and was blogging all of this along the way, she realized that the blogging piece was helpful, but she also wanted to take it beyond the blog. And so she created Bravely Go to help women understand money and take back their financial power. Kara's transparency and willingness to talk all things money, especially how it intersects with things like our identity, race, gender, politics, and also like pop culture, just make her a really fun person to follow. And recently she's been working on her Spanish language skills, and I so appreciate the humility of like going behind the scenes and learning that language and playing around with getting comfortable with that language. And that's been fun to watch too. Rita Soledad Fernandez Paulino, aka Soledad, is the founder of Wealth para Todos. They are a queer Mexican-American former math teacher turned finance and self-care coach. There are 8 pillars of our wellness. I've referenced them before on this channel or through their coaching work, that they're not just focusing on the dollars, but making sure that those dollars are able to fund all of those other pillars of our overall wellness. Soledad believes in working because you want to, not because you have to, and has a special interest making sure other BIPOC and LGBTQIA folks have the knowledge that they need to be able to live a life that feels good to them. I love watching all of Soledad's content, whether it's on Instagram, through their email newsletters. And personally, I love when Soledad takes us behind the scenes of what's going on in their life. And it helps me just to feel seen and validated and just to show that human side of life. I think so often in all of these online spaces, we just see the curated part of a person. And for Soledad to put themselves out there in a way that is so authentic and funny without being like trauma dumping is such a gift. Ana Romero and her husband Jeremy are the founders of Brewing Dinero. They are a married couple and they are a part of the financial independence community. If you don't know what the FIRE community is, Financial Independence Retire Early, you can watch a previous video that I did with one of the founders of the Slow-Fi movement right here. But what I love about their platform is that they identify as the first in their family for many different things. They are first-gen immigrants from Mexico, first-gen college students, first-gen grad students, and the first in their families to have the privilege to be able to access financial literacy education and start building generational wealth. Their journeys and their lived experiences have taught them the importance of not just financial education, but making sure that that financial education speaks to people who have a similar lived experience, be it first gen, be it the first person in their family to go to college, be it the first person in their family to consider financial independence, all of those things. And through their platform, Brewing Dinero, they help others eliminate financial stress by helping them become debt-free as one of the first things that they work on, and then working on building up an emergency fund. So those two things they have found to be the most helpful in creating that financial safety net, not just literally with the money in your bank or the amount of money that you're paying down in debt, but also emotionally, which makes sense because Anna is a practicing psychologist. And as you know, as a mental health clinician myself, I love seeing other people who are in the mental health care space who are open to talking about money. Next up is Lea Landaverde. She is known as the Latina wealth activist. She is a queer, first-gen Salvadoreña financial professional and professor. She was born and raised in Utah and now lives in Texas, where she kind of splits her time between financial coaching, teaching at the college level, and helping people who are in the carceral system learn about financial literacy. So when they re-engage with the community, they have additional baseline understanding of financial literacy. Lea advocates for equitable rights for immigrants, BIPOC, LGBTQ+, and mental health awareness. And she also founded the Riqueza Collective. Riqueza is the Spanish word for wealth. And through the Riqueza Collective, she is able to put out podcasts and also create some coaching, information, and education there. I love how Lea is able to normalize how complicated money stuff is and make it easy to digest. I also admire how clear she is on who she is, what she does, who she helps, and also is able to honor her individual scope of practice and is actively invested in educating herself on the intersectionalities of how money intersects with other parts of our life. Maribel is the founder of Our Wealth Matters. She is the first-gen daughter of Mexican indigenous immigrants and is a personal finance coach specifically targeted at helping folks in the immigrant community in the United States. She learned firsthand how broken the immigration system is, especially when it comes to things like money. And when the breadwinner of her family was deported when she was a teenager, it shook her world, as you imagine it would, and she started really thinking about how to cultivate safety and how to help other families who have immigrants in their family who may be undocumented to create financial safety. She combines her experience in corporate finance, a degree in international business, and a certificate as an income tax professional all together to help people create financial safety. She especially loves working with DACA recipients, undocumented immigrants, or first-gen U.S. citizens. I have such deep respect for Maribel being so open and honest about her experience and being transparent about how this particular part of our country just does not get personal finance education and is trying to make things work for them when the system was not designed to help them. Stefanie Gonzales founded the Women's Wealth Effect as she was moving out of corporate and into the FIRE community. She left a 15-year supply chain career after climbing the corporate ladder to really focus her time while she was there on making sure that her retirement investments were matched, that she was maxing out, that she was living below her means, and she and her family actually moved to Portugal, where they are now financially independent. She believes that it was intentionality and having open and honest discussions with her partner that helped them to get to that first 100K in net worth and then start watching that financial momentum build to the point where they became millionaires and now financially independent. What she loves doing is helping people figure out how to cultivate their life on their terms, and that includes maybe working a traditional 9-to-5 to help to fund your dreams. I love watching her show the behind the scenes of what it's like to be in the financial independence community and how she shares with others that it doesn't have to look the same way for every single person to move toward creating a life that is in alignment with your unique values. Yáñez is a certified financial planner and founder of All the Colors. In addition to being a financial planner, they are also a registered life planner, which means the money that you are earning, saving, and investing should make sure that it supports all of your life's dreams. Deanna helps change makers create sustainable systems to make their money easier to manage. In addition to having a special place in her heart for helping other entrepreneurs, she's also interested in helping her clients learn how to do something called impact investing, which is investing in alignment with your values. I think a lot of us think of impact investing as just ESG investing, but impact investing is also making sure that you know how to invest literally in the community in which you live and making sure you understand that unique risk tolerance. Because of Yáñez's unique combination of being a life planner plus a financial planner, she's able to help people with the technical side to better support the broader part of their lives as well. I love how Yáñez is able to help people understand that you can have money, make meaningful change in the world, and pull yourself out of some of the extractive practices that are so common in our capitalist system. Right now, Yáñez is living in Mexico City. It's been so fun to explore that city through her eyes. Athena Lent is the founder of Money Smart Latina. She also is the author of the book Budgeting for Dummies. Athena comes from a place of deep empathy and understanding for all of the trauma that life can throw at you and helping people to normalize those experiences, honor the pain that those experiences caused, and finding ways to take compassionate ownership of the things that we do have the capacity to change. There's no spiritual bypassing here. Athena is very good at making sure that we honor where we came from and also are finding the power and the control to use money in a way that works for us. She said one of the defining moments of her personal finance career was when she was a program coordinator at a Title I university. So she was helping other students who had similar backgrounds to her, and she was just kind of generally talking about money, and the students didn't realize that there were ways to purchase food outside of having food stamps. And it was in that moment that she realized how imperative it was that she helped other people who looked like her, sounded like her, came from similar backgrounds, understand how money works and start advocating for them too. Athena is a talented freelance writer and has written for Slate, Clever Girl Finance, BuzzFeed, and I think she brings such a human approach to everything she touches. Yanely Espinal is Miss Be Helpful. She is a Brooklyn native on a mission to help young people understand how money works. She was a teacher for a while, and she's paired her love of teaching with her love of knowledge and has been a vocal advocate for making sure that we have financial literacy education in schools through her work with Next Gen Personal Finance. I love how she sees financial literacy as a social justice issue and makes that one of the key pillars of her work. In addition to helping people understand how saving, investing, and credit works, she just wrote a book called Mind Your Money, which helps people understand how money works, not just through tools and tactics, but through storytelling and helping people to really see how money shows up in our lives. Because again, as an educator, she knows that we are more likely to learn through storytelling than through boring jargon. You can find links to everybody that I mentioned here in the description box. If you're not following them, please give them a follow. And obviously, this is just a teensy tiny sliver of people who are doing amazing work in the Hispanic and Latine communities around personal finance education, planning, coaching, teaching, and understanding. If you have someone that you adore that's a part of this community, please drop them down in the comments below. I remember at the beginning when I said I would tell you why I decided to combine Hispanic and Latine in this particular video. When Hispanic Heritage Month was initially created, it was meant to encompass all people who fell into the categories of Hispanic and also people who were in Latin America and the Caribbean who have Latine root. And when we use the term Hispanic, we by default are omitting people who don't speak Spanish or who don't come from Spanish lineage. And I'm not Hispanic, I'm not Latina. So when I combined the two, I was not doing it to be like, oh, these two seem similar enough and I'll put them together. I did it because as an ally, I was reading through how other people identify and following other people who said, look, when we look at the way Hispanic Heritage Month was created, it was really meant to be inclusive of Latine folks, but it omitted it because of the person person who created it, naivete around using that term. And the reason that I'm using the term Latine and not Latinx is that Latinx was a term that was created in the US to try and be inclusive of people who are not male or female, but who are non-binary, who are trans, etc. However, Latinx doesn't naturally fit when a person is a native Spanish speaker. So to break up the language and be like Latinx doesn't really work. So folks in the community said, you know what feels better instead of Latinx to be inclusive is Latine. So ending it with an E, which fits into the way that that language is spoken and helps to be more inclusive. So that is my primer on that. And it's also a good reminder that as we work toward being more inclusive, language is going to change. There's a very good chance that if you're watching this video in the future, you might go, oh my gosh, Lindsay, I can't believe you used that term. People are not using that term anymore. And when that term changes, I will listen to folks in that community and honor what they say is best and follow their lead rather than say like, no, I don't want to change the way that I speak or think or feel about it. A part of being engaged in cultural awareness and in social justice issues is when you are not a part of that particular marginalized community, taking a back seat and amplifying the voices of the people in that community. So that's a little background on why I included Latina folks here and why I use the term Latine instead of Latinx. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.